Again, my name is Jennifer Carter. I'm the Director of Client Performance here for Satisfax and Apartment Ratings. Welcome to Power Panels, February edition 2021. Be sure to check out our social media. You can see our Instagram and our Facebook um, names where you can check us out at. So feel free to do that as well. This month, what we are going to be all about. Whoops, I just had a little, hold on one second, y'all. Sorry about that. Little technical difficulty there. There we go. So those of you that want to check out our Instagram and our Facebook, that's where you can find us at the bottom left there. Guess you need that info, right, to find us. All right, perfect. All right, well, this month, what we're going to talk about today is creating an epic experience. And how do we do that? Really, the quotes of epic are in quotes there because at Satisfax and Apartment Ratings, we have an epic grade, and we want to share with you how you can create the epic experience for your residents. All right. We have three amazing panelists joining us today. And that is one thing that's really neat about our power panels is that each month we have three panelists who have shown outstanding work that are taking the opportunity here to share all that they know and how they keep their communities an epic and giving an epic experience to their residents. So we have Jackie Mills from Discovery Square. She is with Grady Management. So welcome, Jackie.
Thank you. Nice to be here. Thank you.
You're welcome. Brittany Taylor, we have her. She's over Crown Woods in the village at Crown Woods, the community manager with Linebach. So welcome, Brittany.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And lastly, we have Tanya. I'm going to attempt, I should have practiced, Henurita, last name hopefully, Prentice Point Apartments. She is the executive manager there, and she is with Paragon Management. Did I get it right, Tanya?
Very close. It's Henrietta. And
Okay.
hello, everybody. Here.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, I can't wait to hear from you guys in just a few minutes. And I know everybody on the call is super interested to hear what you guys have to say as well. Just a quick reminder, things to note. We are about 60 minutes. Last month, we had a lot of great Q&A. So, the total here is 60 minutes. We try to give the goods in 30 and then the after party after that where you can ask questions. So just kind of know what you can expect. We will send a follow-up email after, so it will include the recording and the slides. So look out for that. Again, we'll have the live Q&A once we give you all the great information, the tips and tricks. We'll have our exit survey where you can rate and comment and leave any feedback. And then, of course, we'll share with you at the end what we have coming up for March. So we have some great things to showcase with you there. All right. Well, of course, what we always know, if you've been on our calls, is that we could not do these webinars free without our sponsor. We really appreciate them, and we have a quick little clip from them to share with you what they offer. So let's hang tight so we can watch what Pinwheel has available. All right. Well, thanks to Pinwheel, because again, these are not free without their support. So we really appreciate their sponsorship. If you were on our call last month, we did a $50 Starbucks gift card giveaway, and we're going to do the same thing again today. So for all of those that are on our call today, please follow us on Instagram or Facebook. Please make sure you follow us though from your community page. We love to see what's happening on your community pages, from resident satisfaction to if you're doing your own giveaways, just anything that has been happening at your community. We would love to see that. So please make sure that you like and follow us on our social media from your community page. You can find us at Facebook at that Satisfax Education and Instagram as well. What we'd love for you to do to be entered to win the giveaway is locate today's webinar post. It's already up there. It was up this morning at 9 a.m. Make sure you like it. It looks exactly like the one you have on your screen. And then just comment with a little thumbs up. And then we will announce the winner tomorrow morning. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you have the opportunity, whether it's now or right after the call, to connect with us on social, and then you will be entered to win that $50 Starbucks card. Nothing like a good cup of hot, warm coffee. So we hope you take advantage of that. We will be doing that again next month. So come back. It's going to kind of be our monthly social media giveaway. We love that. And if you already follow us, you're already halfway there. That's great. Just go ahead and locate today's post and then put that thumbs up. So we would love for you to be able to be entered to win the gift card. Well, let's jump right in. How do we create an epic experience, and create that resident satisfaction that is just, out of this world? And really, what is epic? You probably have seen the epic grade on your apartment ratings listing. It really is encompassing a 360 viewpoint of how the community or what that community story is all about. And we know that prospects are out looking. They're doing a lot more research on their own these days. They're digging in, they're reading reviews, they're reading responses. They really want to know what the sense of community is like. They want to know how maintenance is handled. They really want to know all of the components, of that resident experience even before they move in. So there's a lot of components to when a prospect is looking, then even when they become that resident, how do we still create an outstanding experience? So what does EPIC stand for? So there's a couple of components we're going to break down here. And that first one is the experience. So the experience is really all about that resident's day-to-day interaction and what is it like to really live there. And then the performance. That's all about that team, the staff. How is the performance being handled or evaluated? How does the resident really feel about the performance? So you have the experience plus the performance is how we are able to give that full spectrum in that letter grade, which hopefully is an A, right? That's what we're shooting for here. So to give you the components of the EPIC report card, there's 4 that you'll see, and we're going to kind of talk about what entails with all of those. First, it is a grade that is based on 365 days. So that's really great to know. One important thing is the renter's ratings includes 2 pieces. It's the apartment ratings reviews. So all of those stars that your residents give you, they score you on maintenance or neighbors, or the apartment. One, they are grading you or rating you on those. That is encompassed into the renter rating. And then if you have Satisfax surveys, that's also encompassed into the renter rating. So the reviews, and if you have surveys with us, those 2 pieces are actually what is driving the actual renter ratings score or grade. Review volume is also a percentage here is across all of the communities, right? So how many reviews do you actually have? Number 3 is the manager's review engagement. Super, super important. We want to make sure that every review has a response. I'm a big advocate of this because prospects really want to understand that if they were to move in there, will the management team, acknowledge myself as a resident if I have a question, comment, or concern. So they're really making some kind of almost assumptions of, hey, if I'm reading this, is this how I will be treated when I'm a resident? And so we want to make sure that the resident experience, that you are giving is going to be reflected exactly in this epIQ report. And then lastly, you have your response time. So how quickly are you able to respond to those reviews, on those review sites? So of course, it's really important that you make sure that you are responding as quickly as possible. My favorite analogy here is making sure that you do respond, as quickly as possible, because if a resident were to walk by you, let's say, on the grounds, and they have a comment or concern to you, and you just continue to walk by and not acknowledge them, that's kind of the same thing. And so we don't want to leave any of those opportunities, uncovered. We want to make sure that we address each and every one as soon as possible. So as I mentioned, just a quick little further breakdown, because it does help see it, that renter ratings. We have the apartment ratings review section, and then the other section is that satisfaction scores. So that is the two pieces that break out the renter rating grade. So you can see that here. We actually asked renters what they felt and how important it was to see an epIQ grade. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how helpful is the epIQ when searching for a new home? And so we have a quick little snippet to hear from our focus renter, and see what they have to say. Really great to hear from this young lady in regards to what she thinks of the epIQ report. Again, I think everything that we do on site is able to be showcased online, and so we want to create that best experience for our residents. So let's jump over and get some questions out to our panelists. They have all of the wonderful answers, all of the great things that they are doing for their residents, and we want to be able to share that information with everyone on the call today. The first category we're going to dig into is experience and what that experience really is made up of. And that first one is unclosed traffic. So I'm going to toss this over to Brittany. As you can see, these are actually her community scores year over year, and they have done a tremendous job, especially during this pandemic of the last year, keeping their satisfaction index, or score rather, at a very such high level, even when they hadn't had the opportunity to even meet and see their prospects face to face, because this is where it all really starts. As you can see, the satisfaction index is a 4.47. And again, Brittany, you've done a fantastic job of having those, satisfaction scores, even at the prospect level, at such a high grade or high score. So I'd love to know, or if you could share with the team, when you're not able to be in front of a prospect, especially during COVID, how have you been able to keep that same level of service?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the kind comments. I think that it all starts over the phone. Obviously, we always have those phone scorecards that we consistently review with our team members to make sure that they are setting that 100% positive first impression of our community. Obviously, in um, an everyday setting, everyday normal setting, the next step would then be to get them in for a tour. But with the pandemic, that obviously is not always possible. And so we've started over the phone actively promoting our Facebook page. We set up online tours that we have a link for that we've posted to our page, and we share that with them via email. So it's kind of two birds, one stone. Not only are we getting our community out there with a virtual tour, but it also promotes our Facebook page so that they can follow it for regular updates. And then we also on our Facebook page do a highlight unit of the day. So while we do have just our specific tours for every floor plan, we also promote an actual unit that is currently available for lease through our Facebook page. And we highlight that unit not only with a detailed description of the unit itself, but also the view that it holds, amenities that might be in that particular unit that aren't in others, and then we attach photos of that specific apartment. So that way we can show, that it really is as beautiful as we are trying to verbally paint the picture. And I think doing that on a regular basis also shows the consistency in our product. I hear so many times that someone visits a community and it's just really not what they saw online. So by doing this on a regular and consistent basis, it shows that, we do keep up with our community and that we deliver that great product every single time.
I love that. That's fantastic. Really great to hear. So that's great. Thank you so much. One of the next pieces here is that move-in. Really with move-in, it's all about making sure that the residents' expectations are being met. So as Brittany just said, wanting to make sure that we deliver exactly what we told them, that there's no, let's say, bait or switch, right? Like what you're talking to them about is exactly what they're going to see at move-in. Move-in is a stressful time as it is. And then when we put the pandemic on top of that, we are seeing even more an opportunity to really have a smooth, easy opportunity to create a great satisfaction, a great experience at that move-in time. And all three of you ladies are rocking it out here with some amazing scores. So I'd love to first pass it over to Tanya, and then we'll kind of have each of you speak a little bit to what you guys have been able to do to keep your residents so satisfied when it comes to move-in. What really is the things that you are doing, that first week that really keeps that mind frame of the resident of this is the right place for me. I chose the right place and I'm looking forward to living, here for hopefully more than a year. So Tanya, you want to kind of take it away and let us know what are some great things that you've been able to do to create that great resident experience?
Absolutely. So I really think that it starts with your turn process or your make ready process. So our homes are inspected multiple times by different employees. And during that process is just ensuring that our product is always excellent before somebody moves in. We definitely understand that it's really important that, their process is as smooth as possible and then trying to keep it stress free. During the pandemic, without being able to do in-person move-ins, we've not been able to be really creating a personal bond with them. So we've tried to overcome that by communicating regularly before they actually move in so that they feel like they're friends prior to being here. But we also have provided them with a map of our community, locations of everything that they have access to. And then we outline little niches that they have in their home, like where the breaker box is going to be located or how our showers work. I think one of the most important things that we've done during the pandemic is implement a love it or leave it guarantee. That's ensured that they're consistently happy with their home and that our product is top notch. So pretty much they get to come move in, they'll have an hour to look at it, and if they're unhappy, they can hand back the keys and get their money back and walk away. Thankfully, we've not had anybody actually take that offer since March of 2020.
That is outstanding. I'm really loving all of that. I love the personalized map with the directions. So finding the ways that you can create that connection and really communicate with them, even though you're not able to do that in person. So that's really, really great as well. Hey, Jackie, would you like to kind of let us know what you guys are doing over at your community to create an epic experience at Move-In?
Sure. I definitely agree with Tanya. A lot of the things that they're doing there as well, we're doing at Discovery Square, like personalized maps. Just staying in communication with them constantly, especially since we don't have that face-to-face interaction. Just kind of lack for a better term, is making sure that we're holding their hands and letting them know that we are here for them, even though we can't be face to face with them. Once they've been approved and they know that this is where they want to move to, just constantly, whether phone calls or emails, just staying in communication with them, making sure everything's set up, and just like there's not going to be any question marks when they arrive to the community, like, oh my gosh, where do I go to get my keys? We're giving them the choices of either us, leaving their move-in packets and their keys in the apartment within a certain time frame, or leaving it in our package locker so they're already set up with that, or actually physically handing it over to them and just kind of like very limiting the face-to-face interaction that we're having with them. And I think the before and the after of their move-in experience is very important as well, meaning like that the apartment is perfect. Like they're not going to be disappointed when they walk in. So just making sure that everybody on our team has eyes on the unit, from the maintenance team to the office staff, like it's, top notch from top to bottom. Like they're not going to be like, oh, it was dirty or it was this, like everything's in perfect working order. And then I know for us, our marketing consultants, before, like if they're physically moving into the unit that day of their lease start, before the close of business, they're actually giving them a call and checking in on them and how everything went and if they needed anything. And then usually within 48 to 72 hours, I'm, as the community manager, is following up with them too, just to check in and see how everything's going with them.
What a great added touch for you as the manager to reach out as well. So that's really great to hear as well. You're taking that opportunity to also build that relationship. That's great.
Yeah.
And then lastly, Brittany, would you like to share some things that you guys are doing that help make the first week really an epic, outstanding week for the resident?
Absolutely. I completely agree with both of these ladies. I think it starts with, creating that relationship from day one. Um, at our specific company, we start with the tour process with one person, and if that person winds up applying, they are going to go through the application process, the communication regarding preparing for their move in day, their actual move in experience. All of that is going to go through the same person. And while everyone in our office is trained to be able to handle those requests and could step in at any time if that person was unavailable, I also just think that it helps that person really build a trusting relationship with at least one member of your staff. So that way they know that they have somebody that they can count on moving day, because it is so stressful. And then secondly, I know that she just mentioned the post move-in call, and I completely agree. It's definitely important, not only just to show them that you care, but it also kind of helps, because if they do have something that they are not 100% satisfied with, if the ball got dropped somewhere along the way, this is your perfect opportunity for them to immediately voice their concerns so that you can go above and beyond to resolve them. If you're not making that call, they may just kind of try to brush that under the rug, but we all know when that happens, if there's something that they're upset about later down the line, they've always got that thought in the back of their mind of how that first day or that first week went. So it's just your opportunity to resolve everything for them to make sure that it's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, I would agree with all of you ladies. I think there, is definitely a huge opportunity, and a couple of you point on this, to walk the apartment home to make sure everything is in working order. We know that residents now are working, in their home, eating, sleeping. They are in their home more often than not. So to really make sure that everything is 100% is absolutely important. So really great tips from all of you ladies with the move-in process. One thing we also know, and this is just purely overall from the resident experience, is that we really need to make sure that the resident experience on site matches the online presence, right? So with the resident experience that you are giving your residents, we want to make sure that that same picture or voice, or let's call it a video, is also being echoed on your on your website or on your reviews. So we want to make sure that those are able to be matched, and that way that prospects, are able to even really get a good feel for what it's really like to live there. So I know we had a few of you kind of mention in regards to that. I think, Brittany, you had some great feedback. Making sure that your residents are able to respond positively, if that's correct, right? And that kind of stems from creating that great experience. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. We've learned that over time that most of our residents are going to respond positively. So if we're really promoting those surveys and making sure that we're having more responses, then the more likely it is that our score is going to increase.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Anything else from you other ladies, kind of in regards to making sure that your resident experience really echoes into your online presence? We got more info to share with you guys, so we'll just, if there's nothing, which is all right, which is great, we'll go on to the next section, because the next section we have here is all about performance. Let's take a look here. And the first one we have is work order. Now, this one is, I think, really important, especially in the time of COVID, again, making sure that folks are able to use everything in their home. There's nothing worse than we always talk about having to hand wash dishes when your dishwasher is broken. I sure don't like to do that. We don't want any of our residents to be frustrated. We want to create that great resident or epic experience. So again, these three ladies have done a fantastic job of keeping their scores and their resident satisfaction at such a high level, even over the last year. These scores that you're seeing are their actual ending 2020 scores. So this is how they actually ended the 2020 year of a pandemic. So Tanya, if you would be so kind, I'd love to know what are some things you guys have put in place or have even had to change up due to the pandemic to keep your residents satisfied with their work orders?
Absolutely. So I think in our industry, communication is always important. However, during this pandemic, it's become so much more relevant how important that is in our process. So before a work order, when they call in, we're giving them a timeline or estimated, attempt of when we'll be out there, so that we're setting the precedence of what's really going to happen, and not something that they think somebody's going to be out an hour if we know it's going to be 2 days. We contact the residents prior to we actually coming out to their home. Then after we leave, we contact them again to let them know what we did in their home. And then we'll even do a follow-up call later in the process to just ensure that everything's still up to their expectations. We also make sure to inform the residents during that follow-up call that they're going to be getting a survey and to be looking out for it and how important their feedback is, and that it really helps us gauge if there's anything else that we need to improve on. If we're unable to actually speak with them, we'll leave them a voicemail that lets them know, like, hey, if you have an issue, contact us first, so that we have the opportunity to correct it before they actually submit a survey. So that actually really helps us a lot too, because if there is anything that didn't go quite as planned, we definitely have time to address it before they've left a negative review on our social media. One of the things that we've gotten a lot of compliments from our residents about that too is that, even if it's unpleasant information that we're having to provide, if they're adequately informed, they're much more satisfied with the process, even if it's like, hey, you may not have that for a few days. So they seem to be happy with that.
Yeah, we always know what happens when people assume, right? We they start to 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 kind of go left field. So we definitely love the communication. I love the over communication, so we can never communicate too much, I think, to a resident. So that's great. Let's see, Jackie, you want to let us know what you guys are doing over at your community, and then we'll have Brittany jump in as well.
Yeah, again, a lot like what Tanya's community is already doing. I definitely think that one of our biggest thing is, because we are in this pandemic, is making sure like we're living our talk. So, we're with our residents, we're having them wear masks in common area spaces, and just kind of like reminding them of, what's going on and safety precautions for the pandemic. So with us living the talk, we're making sure that when we are fulfilling service tickets, especially in occupied units, that our team are using, the proper PPE materials like booties, gloves, masks, and just really adhering to, talking to the resident about their safety and like, we're going to work in the kitchen. Could you be in the bedroom while we're doing this, just for everybody's safety? And a lot of the feedback we get back from the residents is that they appreciate that because they believe if we're doing it in their unit, they're doing it in other units as well. Another big thing for us is when service tickets come through, if sometimes service tickets can be vague and you're not really sure what the actual problem is. And so when a service ticket does look vague, either the maintenance team or the office team will call the resident to get more clarification. This helps the maintenance team to know what they're going there to do and making sure they're bringing the right equipment so they're not going in and out of these units, which actually makes the residents feel better because they're already kind of like on high alert with, somebody having to come in and out of their not only their home, but now their workplace in a lot of scenarios. So, it's kind of like one and done kind of scenarios is what they like. And then again, when it's an issue where we may have to go back in a couple of days because we just don't have the part or, a contractor is needed, making sure that somebody from our community's team is calling the resident and explaining the process and what needs to, occur next. It just keeps them feeling like, okay, I'm being kept in the loop. I know what's going on. And making sure we're leaving messages behind about, we have hang tags that we put on resident doors, letting them know that, if they weren't home, like this is what we did. We were here. If you have any questions, let us know. And on those hang tags, it also talks about our surveys. And again, when we're giving the residents a call just to check on how everything is, we can then again kind of talk about those resident surveys that they're going to be getting.
Thank you. That is awesome. Hey, Brittany, did you want to add anything? I know you guys are, doing a great job as well. Have you had to change up anything with work orders to keep that satisfaction with the residents due to the pandemic? Have you had to kind of incorporate anything new?
Outside of what these two ladies just mentioned, we are doing those things as well. The only other thing is that when someone phones in a work order or contacts the office about it, we did have a set list of questions that we've been asking, such as, have you traveled? Or, has anyone in your home been exposed or been ill? And that's just something that we were asking of all residents. And again, I think that they appreciate that. They recognize that if we're asking them, then we're asking everyone. And they recognize that we're just kind of trying to go above and beyond to make sure that we're not entering the homes of anyone that has been ill, or just trying to keep everybody safe. So yeah, that's about it.
And I assume by what you're mentioning, the residents that you're saying are pretty receptive to that, those kinds of questions. They don't feel like they're kind of being like nosy. You're not being nosy or anything. It's to their benefit, I assume, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. The last piece to the performance here is the pre-renewal, which is our sense of community. Pre-renewal is all about that sense of community. We want to make sure that we are creating that, especially in a world where, quite frankly, a lot of folks are, by themselves, right? Or have a limited connection with a lot of folks. So still creating that sense of community is going to be key. And it still obviously has been key, I think, over 2020, but I think it'll still be key moving into 2021 and as we move forward this year. We still want a human to human connection. We still want that as individuals. We want to be a part of something bigger. So Brittany, you have done a fantastic job still continuing to increase your sense of community satisfaction. Your residents are really feeling connected there, and you do some really great events, ones that are a little out of the ordinary. What are you guys doing to bring that connection with the residents?
Yeah, so currently, actually just last week, we did our Resident Appreciation Week. Usually we would offer treats and things here in the office for the residents to stop by, but during the pandemic, we know that that may not be the safest option, or they may not feel comfortable doing that. So we just tried to think out of the box of other ways that we could really get them involved. Again, using our Facebook page for various contests and things, really, and promoting our Facebook page through that. We did a drive-by breakfast where we handed out prepackaged meals at the entryways while we were outside, which provided us the opportunity still to get them a treat, but while social distancing. And then also our community offers some not so typical amenities. We have a community vegetable garden and a giant chessboard. We also do bicycle checkout that for free for our residents. And all of these are things that our residents can find some sort of common ground and still be outside and properly socially distance while participating in different activities with one another.
Love the big chess idea, although I don't play chess, but I do like the big ones. I'd be up for checkers, but that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So the other piece to this, of course, is reviews. So as we mentioned, that is part of the EPIC grade, the EPIC experience, right? How do we continue to keep that uh, resident satisfaction and have that really show on the online presence? Reviews is going to be and is your other best friend, right? Or hopefully it's your best friend. So we have two little snippets here from some focus runners that we want to share with you. We do know that responses are just as important to renters. Responses are just as important to renters as the reviews. It's all about how management handles them. Are they authentic? Are they, real? Are they directly answering the questions? Or is it more templated that kind of just looks maybe like a robot? What does that response really look like? So let's hear from a quick focus runner here, and we'll share that with you. I think hearing directly from those two folks, you really get the sense that prospects are putting a lot of weight on the responses as a review, of course, but the responses, they're really looking and wanting to understand, how is management communicating? Are they on top of their reviews? Are they responding? As I mentioned, they're doing a lot of assuming of, if this is what I'm seeing online, this is how I would be treated as a resident. So again, responses are just as important to reviews, and we want to make sure that each review has a response. And Jackie on the call has a phenomenal report card here for review engagement and review reply time. So kudos to you, Jackie, and your team. Want to kind of give you props here in just a second to share what you guys are doing to really, create such a great grade. One thing I do know is you guys use Review Responder, which is with us. So can you share with us how Review Responder has actually helped you as the property manager and helped you with having a great score on your report card?
Yeah, I definitely say with report responders, it helps us to make sure that nothing falls off. None of the reviews that come through gets missed, and so that there is a reply back to the resident. And it also gives us, or a prospect, whichever survey is done, or not survey, I'm sorry, but like response, like whatever, whether it's a resident or a prospect, when they're giving their reviews, we're not just like taking it and ignoring it. There's somebody responding back to them. But then also it gives like myself the opportunity to, take the time to thoughtfully read and even reach out if the opportunity, if they leave their information, to find out, like, the core cause of any comments that they make, whether they're negative or positive, and it allows us to either express the thanks with value to the review, or to take the comments and use it as a learning tool to keep us improving as needed.
Yeah, there's really definitely some value in making sure that you've got the opportunity. And also, I think it alleviates for you too to know and have confidence that they're all responded to, and you have maybe a little bit
Yes,
of time to spend in analyzing those reviews and not kind of so focused on what am I going to put for a response, right? Like you can really kind of step
exactly,
back and really,
exactly.
take the reviews and have the opportunity to put a new plan in place if you need to do that. So,
Yeah.
really great opportunity to see that you guys have done a great job here, and it pays off, right? As you heard from uh, the last gentleman there, he really does say, "Hey, look." If there isn't anything on here, then I'm already going to assume that management isn't going to be as receptive or involved or wanting to partner with me as a resident. So there really is a lot of opportunity and good reason to respond to those reviews.
Yes. Yeah, I think sometimes when people do reviews, they have they already think like, oh, this is just gonna go, into a black hole. No one's gonna really read this. And I think it's a pleasant surprise for a lot of people when they do see that, that they do get a response back.
I would definitely agree. Pleasant surprise is a good one for sure.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a couple of key takeaways here. Remember a couple of key notes as well. Any questions, you can drop those in the questions box. If you have some questions to any of these awesome panelists here or to myself, if you're looking for some tips or tricks on how to create that epic experience at any point of the resident's life cycle, would love to answer those for you. I have a few key takeaways, and then we will let the ladies maybe leave us with one key takeaway that they would want to share that's maybe most important to making sure that the resident satisfaction is epic. So my key takeaways first here is communicate and connect. Residents want that full experience, right? They want that full experience from the beginning to the end. We don't just want to create that at one moment, but keep that consistency. And then respond to reviews authentically. So those would be my three key takeaways. Ladies, do you have anything you want to add or want to mention that you kind of really are focusing on maybe for 2021 for your resident satisfaction?
Jen, I think you kind of stole some of the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, well, good. We're all on the same page. What you got?
I mean, I definitely think my team members hear it from me all the time, like consistency and authenticity.
Mm,
Like just being real about it and making sure that we're not just taking care of a resident to get them in the door. We want to we believe in building a community within our community. So again, staying consistent and authentic with them is really, really important and key.
for sure. Absolutely. Any of you any other final parting words for our attendees today? You guys are and your teams, not just you, but your teams at your communities, from maintenance to your staff, tremendous job, and we give kudos to you guys because it is a team effort, and we know that, right? We couldn't do this without our maintenance team or without our leasing agents or our assistant managers, and I know everybody works and has to be part of a team in order to be successful.
Absolutely. And I think another thing that is so important is making good use of your quarterly action plan, reviewing your scores, reviewing your surveys on a regular basis with your team. Um, if you're reviewing those daily surveys, it gives you the opportunity to catch anything that the residents might be trying to communicate to you in their own apartment. But then when you go back and look at the quarterly action plan and look at the surveys as a whole, it really gives you a better picture of where are you seeing, consistent responses regarding specific items around your community that you can address. And I think by sharing that with the entire team, it really gives the team the mindset and specific goals that can really positively impact your score over time.
I couldn't have said it better. Well, very nicely done. That was great. Love it. Well, thank you, ladies. We have a few more things. Again, the questions box is open. Before we kind of dig into the questions, if you do have any, we want to make sure you are able to enter into win our giveaway. So we have our social media giveaway. $50 Starbucks card is on the line here. Find us on Facebook or Instagram. If you've already liked us or follow us, great. Just find this post that you see here, and I posted it and put it up there this morning. So it should be today's post that says create an epic experience today. Locate this post and then go ahead and like this post and then put a thumbs up, and you will be entered to win a $50 Starbucks card. We want to make sure you guys have that opportunity. So the chat is open. If you do have any questions, we will be happy to address them, myself or any of the ladies here. We hope you've enjoyed this, maybe some good key takeaways to implement for 2021. We do have a quick question. Yes, the slides will be available and the recording will be available as well right after this call. We will send a follow-up email out. If you have maybe a light bulb moment that you would love to share, or maybe there's something that the ladies or I have mentioned that you might want to implement now that you hadn't done before, love to hear that as well. So we'll leave the chat and the questions box open for just a few minutes while we share with you here next month. Next month, we're going to be all about the new definition of value. So we have 2 of our panelists lined up. We are getting 1 more, so that will be ready for you to see our full panelist lineup in just a bit. But we have 2 wonderful ladies that are doing a fabulous job, and all of the key areas of what that new definition of value is for a resident. What's most important to a resident? So stay tuned for that. You will be able to sign up for that as well in the follow-up email. All right. Again, any questions, any light bulb moments you want to share, we would love to address them. If you are interested in being a panelist, in our follow-up email, you will also get a link where you can input your information, your topic that you would love to be a part of. You can nominate somebody if you'd like, or even suggest future topics. So look out for that in the follow-up email as well. And oh, thank you for the wonderful comment. We appreciate that you felt that this was a great webinar. We don't have any direct questions. We hope that you've had some great takeaways. And with that, then we will close out today's webinar of our power panels. Make sure to fill out the exit survey as we close out, and we will see you next month. Thank you. Have a fantastic day.